When you start to differentiate between hierarchical and horizontal organizations, probably what is most intriguing about it is that all of us grow up instinctively thinking hierarchical. You usually go into an organization and immediately assume that there is a structure that you follow. I report to the director, who reports to the VP, who reports to the president. So most companies are instinctively hierarchical. Horizontal organizations are counterintuitive. You have to create them. They don't naturally fall out. In a hierarchical organization, the leader very much is the patriarch. They are the matriarch. They're the benevolent despot who basically makes all the rules and the one who makes all the decisions. In a horizontal organization, they're more of the chief role model. They're coaching people so that the people in the organization on the top team become essentially a managing board of directors, where they take an enterprise level view. Rather than in a hierarchical organization, it's far more siloed. In terms of leadership in a hierarchical organization, leadership becomes more in a hierarchical, a classic leader-follower paradigm. I make the call, you follow the orders. In a horizontal organization, we are a team of leaders. We all take a level of ownership or accountability for the results that the team produces. Decision-making, hierarchically, is traditionally based on positional authority. Again, in a horizontal organization, it's based on competence. It's based on whether or not you actually add value. From an accountability standpoint, in a hierarchical organization, when you look at the 5 levels of accountability, I'm primarily accountable for me, which is good, and the people that report to me. In a horizontal organization, that is a given. The 3rd level is I take accountability for my peers, right? That's the beginning of the high-performing team. The 4th level is I take accountability for my leader's success. If I feel like my leader has a blind spot, I have the conversation. And then finally, on a 5th level, I take accountability for the enterprise. So when you have people in a hierarchical organization saying that they take accountability for the entire organization and they're not willing to do the 3rd level of holding their peers accountable or providing feedback to the leader, then it really is just happy talk. It's not real. Then finally, the last point is in a hierarchical organization, usually it's a don't make wave type of syndrome. And the last thing I'm going to do is give feedback above. In a horizontal organization, it prides itself on transparency and candor. So it requires a much higher level of emotional intelligence to work that way. The reason it's superior is because the days of having an organization where you have a little star chamber at the top making all the decisions is not real anymore when you're looking at multinational companies who work asymmetrically. So when it comes to working horizontally, it very much accelerates decision-making rather than having decision-making bottlenecks. It very much accelerates issue identification and resolution. And finally, it accelerates design to market time. So you get a competitive advantage that is going to be far quicker in terms of getting the business done than a hierarchy where you're working from the old paradigm, waiting for the white smoke to come out of the top of the building. So finally, the last thing I would say is when I think about an example of an organization, there's a consumer company that we've been working with for a few years, and they were a traditional hierarchical company. They wanted to produce some type of breakthrough and have a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So what we did is we instituted business teams. Essentially what happened then was rather than the functions of operations, sales, marketing, etc., working as the command centers, the business teams became the business drivers. The business teams are now the ones who are the command centers, and the functions become the support centers. That would be like the classic model of a high-performance organization. And as a result of that, that organization blew out their numbers because all of a sudden you had these little SWAT teams focusing very clearly on where the value was rather than having some amorphous group looking at the portfolio through their own particular siloed lenses.